Okay, what if we want to graph something like this, and it's just like the last example that I graphed, but in this case it might make sense to rearrange and make my equation actually look like the standard form. And I can do that, so f of x equals negative x minus 2 squared plus 16. So I just moved the 16 to the other side to make this actually look like this one. So now I can see my vertex straight away as 216, because that's a plus, that's a minus. One of the big things to note is that this graph is going to open upside down because your A is negative, less than 0. And then you go through the same steps that the last example that I did, where you would find the x-intercept by letting your f of x equals 0. And so notice when I move the 16 to the other side, I get negative 16. And then I'm left with this business right here. Well, the first thing I would do is then divide both sides by -1 to get rid of that negative. So that makes it very nice. So I get 16 equals x minus 2 squared. And now we just go through the same steps where we square root both sides. And please don't forget to do the plus and minus on the square root. So we're going to end up with x minus 2 equals the square root of 16, 4, and x minus 2 equals negative 4. So if I add 2, I'm going to have this x-intercept 6, 0, and if I add 2, this x-intercept negative 2, 0. And then finally finding the y-intercept, where you let x equal 0. I'm just going to use the one that I rearranged, so don't lose my negative sign there. Minus 2 squared plus 16. Well, that'll be negative 2 squared, and that will be a positive, but then that negative 16 minus 4, 12, and that gives you your y-intercept. So sometimes you might just have to rearrange your equation to make it look like the standard form, so it just makes it a little easier to do. But if you didn't watch the last video on graphing it, be sure and go through and you'll see I'm doing the same thing on the last video to show how to graph the vertex and the actual intercepts.